It's green for go. They're racing.
He says go.
He says ta-da.
And Tiger Tara roars away from them on the home turn.
Here comes another big boil over.
Equine athleticism at its best. The king is in the castle once more.
This is in one race. The rest are almost in another postcode.
She is a star with a capital S.
It's going to be a triple treat, a miracle three-peat. Ladies and gentlemen, you have witnessed history here at Menangle. What about that?
It's getting right up on the sprint lane and it's going to bolt in.
Good morning, welcome to another episode of the Sprint Lane, the live show, here from Racing at Club Menangle. And I say racing at Club Menangle, Jessica Watkins,
Very
because
good, branding on point.
as an award winner of excellence in social media at this week's Harness Racing Australia Awards that have been announced, Fred. Yes, I have to say Racing at Club Menangle because that's this weird sort of branding thing that you guys have got on your social media. It always catches me out. So, Jess, well done. Well done. You won an award.
Thank you very
congratulations.
much,
Freddie Hastings, obviously back with us. Hello, Freddie.
I'm back. No awards, so but I'm just humbled to be on the show next to such esteemed company, and
we've got a guest in the house. It's been a
actual,
little while.
yeah, I
since
know.
we've had
I
a
was
guest
getting lonely at the end of the
in the
table.
house. We've got Will Rixon with us. Will's on a chair because when we framed up the camera for the live stream, he was making Freddie look like
It was like being in the land of the giants.
looked like
I was getting a sore neck.
pick him up and throw him around the room or something like that. Welcome, Will. Speaking of award winners, mate, what a run you have been on. Club Menangle medalist. Your star is just rising and rising and shining brighter than ever of late.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been a good year so far. So, yeah, definitely enjoying the way things are going at the moment.
Mate, you're on fire. We've got so much to get into talking to you, but great to have him in. We've been trying to get Will on the show for a little bit. I know he doesn't know because I haven't badgered him, but amongst us, we've been saying, we've got to get Will Rixon on. And Freddie, you've been leading the cheer squad on the way Will's been going for a while now, and with good reason too.
Yeah, look, just on trajectory to better his previous best season, which was last year. He's going to smash it. So no doubt a Centurion will be Will this year. But just not only that, no, I don't mean to embarrass the young man, but he's just also a terrific young fella off the track as well. I speak to a lot of people, and there's a great deal of maturity that's come with experience, and obviously with a bit of age, and obviously a pretty fair upbringing too. So we shouldn't miss that as well.
You've been having a bit of fun, haven't you, mate? Like you can tell you're having fun out there, and obviously success will do that to you, but you can tell you're enjoying your work.
Yeah, I've been saying to people that I think you can have your runs in this game, and sometimes you have runs where you feel like nothing's going your way at all, and you're having, when you're not getting out in races and things aren't going your way, and you feel like it's a bit of a hole, it's hard to get out of, and then other times you're going to have runs where you feel like things are falling into place for you and working out, and yeah, just lately it feels like that things are sort of just working out a little bit. But try not to get too ahead of myself because I've been in this game for a while now, and I know how quick things can change, and but definitely also learnt to enjoy it while it's here because you don't know what tomorrow's going to bring as well.
Perfect example, guys, of good things happening to good people, I think. So,
Definitely.
yeah, absolutely. Hey, well, we didn't have a show last week. It's been a little while since we got to had the band together, so we've got plenty to get through. Let's get into it, eh? So, look, at just a little bit of housekeeping. Unfortunately, we've been so lucky with the weather. Compared to last year, we've been so lucky. Unfortunately, it struck on Sunday. Goulburn was supposed to have its Carnival Cups race meeting. It's been called off. So it's been transferred to the 28th of May. So a little bit of housekeeping there with that. Unfortunately, I think it's the first one of the Carnival Cups program. We're almost at the end that's actually sort of lost its spot as a result of weather. So, hey, that just gives the club more time to put more energy into it.
Imagine how much bigger it's going to be in a month's time.
It's going to be fantastic. Yeah. Look, I do know that they had, bands and, all the jumping castle and face painting, all those things for the kids lined up. So that'll still happen on the 28th, so keep an eye out for that. Now, the reason we didn't have a show last week, we've got to stop meeting like this. We had you at Yagara, mate. Had you on camera a couple of times, actually, for the Sky Racing Active broadcast, and again, with good reason. You filled a spot. So to give some context, we obviously had the Drivers Invitational Series. Now, Freddie and I spoke before the last show, and we're like, gee, Will must have been close to getting a spot in that Drivers Invitational Series. You said it, didn't you? And then it just so happened Josh Gallagher got suspended that afternoon. So straight away I was on the phone to Will, and he jumped at the chance to be part of it. We had to change up. We had a poster already made. We had all sorts of things. I rang Highland in a hurry and said, have you printed Josh Gallagher's colours yet? Stop the press. I need you to change the name. We did it. I got in touch with your sponsor. He was stoked to have you on board. So all those things happened. And then, well, you did your bit then, mate. You went out and won the thing.
I hope there's a cut for me. I pushed hard to get you in there.
Off the reserve bench and straight into the winner's circle.
Yeah, you're brilliant. So third in the first race, Grace Pinella won the first of those two races. Grace was up and about, I can tell you. She was very determined after going all that way to win the event. Her horse misbehaved in race 2. Will took full advantage of that, went out and won race 2. It was clear cut, third and first on the point system, easily declared winner. How did that feel, mate?
Yeah, it was a good day. It was I was excited to get down there, knowing how big of an event it was, and obviously how big of a tragedy it was when the floods hit. So I was definitely keen to get down there, and I was sort of slightly confident because I had the draws. I had drawn 1 in the first heat and drew 3 in the second heat with horses with good gate speed, and on them small tracks, that's what was the difference for me. But it was definitely a good thrill.
How did it feel because there was a good crowd, and the crowd guys, I can tell you, it really got up on the fence line. There's a difference. I mean, obviously Penrith can have a little bit like that, but it hasn't been pulling the crowds like we had at Eugowra. Here at Menangle, the crowd's a bit further back. So for you guys, the sense I was getting from you guys, from yourself and Cameron and Jack and Robbie, who drive here all the time, was you loved that the crowd was right on top of you, and there was a good crowd. It was a couple of thousand strong there at Eugowra. You could hear them, and they certainly made some noise as you guys, because of the circuit racing style, you went past them a few times. Good atmosphere. Would have been fun to drive.
Yeah, I actually always like getting out to them sort of like the Country Cup carnivals out and the smaller tracks. I know Junie's always quite similar, small track, and attracts a really big crowd and a few towns like that. So yeah, it's something a little different for us because we're used to the big space here, and even through COVID, like obviously there wasn't anyone here. So when you get the small tracks, and I think the best part about them sort of meetings are the people too. There's in that part of the state, there's a lot of great people who are always good to catch up with when you're off the track as well.
Yeah, it was a great day, guys. Fundraising was at the core of it, but not just that. It was bringing people together probably for the first time as a community. It was the first time to bring that community together, not just the Eugowra township, but Eugowra's Forbes. Obviously, let's not forget it replaced Forbes as its Carnival of Cups race meeting. It was an opportunity for those Western region towns to come together as one, put some smiles on faces, have these guys as the superstars of our sport sort of press the flesh, and people to get up and and be able to say hello, sign some autographs. You guys did, and they did that. There was selfies, and it was just a really good vibe on the day. I was really proud to be there and be part of it.
We've got to market these guys because and I know I'm parochial, and those that are listening in other parts of Australia are going to say, "Oh, here he goes again." We have really got this incredible bank of young driving talent across the board, and probably you can argue one of the most informed drivers in the country is Cam Hart. I mean, he's knocking up, winning everything. But then you got Jack Callaghan, you've got Will Rixon, you've got Grace Pinella you mentioned, you've got Josh Gallagher, who's an Inter Dominion winning driver, Jack Trainer. You've got all these young guys and girls that are doing their stuff. And I tell you what, we're in good hands in this state.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the talent we've got coming through, Paul.
We should mention Amanda Turnbull had a double on that program. Had a good day out. Bernie Hewitt won the Forbes Diggers Cup. Yep, so he was stoked with that. He loves going to Eugowra. I can tell you, probably no one was happier when I got in touch with him than Bernie. When I said, "Mate, you want to be part of this?" He said, "I love going to Eugowra. Count me in." You guys, mate, I know, Will, you guys just did it because they're the type of people you are. But for me, I never took it for granted as someone who was trying to coordinate you guys. You're on point, you're on message, you turned up as you said you would. And I know that sounds like, well, that's just what you should do. But I must admit, I sort of until I see this all happen, I'm not going to bank on this. You guys turned without having to be chased. You all turned up to be there for a photo. You all turned up to be announced to the crowd. You wore the colours. You guys did everything. You went above and beyond. I'm so proud of our racing industry for what you guys delivered. It's brilliant, mate.
Yeah, well, I mean, I said it a couple of times that a small thing for us to do to help a community like that, it's nothing really. Like one day for us to can help other people who are, I know it probably didn't do a lot, but it might have helped a few people there and with the charity. So yeah, it was a small thing for us to do is a good thing for other people. So yeah, it's good.
I really felt for Joshy Gallagher not being able to be part of it especially when you go out and win it on the horses that he would have had. Josh, as we've said on the show before, and we talked to Josh when he was a guest, we're sitting where Will is going back earlier in the year. He's been one of those drivers who's been so generous.
Yes.
So many people, and so I felt for Josh not being able to be part of that. Tip my hat to Grace Pinella and Blake Hughes. Massive effort to get there from Newcastle.
Would that have taken?
Yeah, well, they broke the trip up and did a stop in Bathurst overnight on the way home. Right. But so they did that. But even you guys now, Will, Cameron, and Jack Callaghan did a road trip together. What do you reckon the banter was like between these three?
I want to know what the music was like.
Well,
firstly on the trip there,
active interview.
Yes,
I think Cam Hart did say Will was pretty confident in the car going up. So
well, firstly, I'm intrigued. Will, was the banter different on the way there to what it was on the way home?
Yeah, there was a lot of sleep. Jack had a good sleep on the way home, so he must have been sooking a little bit because he went to sleep pretty quick. And me and Cam swapped with the driving, and yeah, it was a lot quieter on the way home than it was there. Put it that way.
How long in the car?
It took about 4.5 with a stop or two on the way, and about 4 on the way home.
And the music was blaring, and bit of music. Who had control of the stereo?
Yeah, a little bit, but it was sort of a bit of chatter. I said to Paul in one of the interviews, they said, how was the trip? And I said it was good because Cam and Jack told me how good they were the whole time there. But yeah, no, it was good.
All right, no, fantastic. Should mention Jack had the misfortune of his horse galloping in the first race of the Drivers Invitational and tailed off a long way. So, felt for him to go all that way and and have that happen to him. But yeah, great day. As I said, Bernie Hewitt won the feature. Well done to everyone involved. Really memorable day for the harness racing industry, and everyone should be so proud of what we achieved. So as we said, it's been a big week. Bernie Hewitt and Matty Rue both got doubles at Bathurst on Wednesday. So Matty Rue's another one who was involved in that race series. So Travis Bullock, young up and coming driver there in the Western region, double on that Bathurst program too. Will, you had a winner at Penrith last Thursday with Il Bandito for Ricky. You like driving there, don't you?
Yeah, it's probably one of my favourite days of the week, Thursdays. I don't know, I've just always sort of grew up there. Used to catch a different bus every Thursday afternoon to meet Mum in Camden and jump in with a float on the way to Penrith every Thursday. And I don't know, I just drove mini trots there and just always been lucky enough to drive there ever since, most every week ever since I started driving. So yeah, it's a good place to race.
Yeah, you had a good week. Cameron had a good week too, Cameron Hart. So treble at Penrith. There was a double yesterday for Jack Brown at Bankstown, 6-race program there. We should mention young trainer Noah Fraser. He's in his 3rd year of training. Start 25, he's 21, had his first winner. I know he's been up and about. Now, what I can tell you, Morris Logue's been doing this work with, sort of helping out young trainers and drivers and participants as part of the upskilling program that happens. We got an email from Noah's dad, Greg, yesterday. He said Noah learnt some things from the farrier and little tips and tricks. He's applied them. He can't help but think that it helped him get the first winner yesterday. So he's pretty happy, isn't he?
Well done.
Yep.
Yeah, we've all heard from Noah. Well done to Noah and Major Noah William, the horse in question. So well done to Noah Fraser. May it be the first of many wins for him.
Driven by David Morris, $41 it paid too. Treble for Robbie Morris at Newcastle on Friday night. Obviously, Josh was out, so Robbie would have certainly had the workload up to a little bit there. Tommy Ison, double at Newcastle Friday, treble at Tamworth on Thursday, which we seem to say a fair bit about Tommy Ison when it comes to the Tamworth track. Brad Elder. Between Tom Ison and Brad Elder, they seem to dominate that Tamworth track, don't they? And throw Gemma Coney in as well. Yeah, so double at Tamworth on Thursday. Nathan Jack, he went to Wagga on Friday afternoon and cleaned up there. He won 3 of the first 4 at Wagga And then it flipped. Jackson Painting, he won 3 of the last 4. So between them, had a real big day there between those two guys. There was a race meeting at Coolum, which was running concurrently on Anzac Day while we were at Yagara. Blake Jones had a good day there, treble. So we're seeing a lot of the big names of our sport have good weeks, and it's probably their names that we say a lot, Jess, but well done to everyone. It's, we love the achievement in our sport.
Those names that we've just mentioned there, we do mention them week in, week out. They're just so consistent, perform on those horses. Tommy Ison at Tamworth, I don't think we go a show without mentioning his name.
Tom Ison, Jack Painting gets a mention.
Blake Jones.
Blake, these boys, Will, Cam, Jack, it's just play, repeat.
All right, well, the racing cycle continues, guys. It just moves on and on. Now, one of the tracks I know that you love on your rare opportunities to attend and call there, Freddie, is the Blaney Club. Now, the Blaney Club's got a really solid footprint when it comes to the history of our sport. Now, this weekend, they'll actually celebrate the 50th anniversary of racing, harness racing being there on that track, which is a great achievement, and it shows a real. It has a strong foothold in that Blaney community.
It's only a small town, but the track, as you're going in, is just got an amazing backdrop. From the broadcast box, looking back up the hill, up the mountains, magnificent view. And I have to say, I was blessed. The 2 meetings I went to, they were Carnival of Cups meetings, and the temperatures were in March, I think late March or early April, they were in the 20s and 30s. It was incredible. And everyone was saying to me before I went, "Oh, Fred, Blaney, it's going to be freezing." I said, "Oh, no." Took about 4 jackets. It's 30 degrees. But I've just looked at the weather forecast for Sunday. You going there?
No, I don't think so.
I was going to say, pack
You driven
20.
a Blaney before?
No, Hannah won the cup there with one of Mum's horses on GG Bob. But yeah, I can't remember driving.
It's a very
there.
picturesque track. I'll tell you what, guys, we've got John Kingham from the Blaney Club on the line. G'day, John.
Good morning, Paul. How are you?
Not too bad. Hey, you got a big day ahead of you on Sunday, don't you? It's going to be fantastic to mark 50 years of racing there in Blaney.
Yes, Paul. It's been a big effort by the committee to get this far, and the support of Harness Racing New South Wales has really helped us along the way.
What can we expect on the day, mate? I know that you guys at your recent Carnival of Cups sort of went above and beyond to make sure that the community had a good day out. I know that you're going to put on something similar this Sunday.
Yes, well, we've got the mini trotters again, and we'll have a jumping castle and face painting for the kids and everything like that again, plus a barbecue. But we've got a feature race worth $20,000 on that we're hoping to attract a top class field. Good
chance to really celebrate the 50 years and because you guys have had some high caliber horses and participants. I think Will's granddad, the great A.D. Turnbull, he plied his trade a little bit there on that track, didn't he?
Yes, well, Tony, the Turnbull family's been great to us as a club, and Tony drove 5 winners here one day, and Amanda drove 5 a couple of years ago, so they've got a lot of history here, and Tony had Hondo Grattan and King Frost. They used to always race here in free for alls, and Hondo Grattan, before he won the Indominion in Perth, he won his last race in New South Wales here in Blaney.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So it's a beautiful spot, isn't it, Fred?
It is, and the track is a very good track, a very fair track. And I just on what John just said then about Tony taking Hondo Grattan, that happened so much in that era, in the 70s and 60s, where those top champion horses of the era would go to these non-tab venues and race on a Saturday afternoon.
Yep.
And I guess people that were attending didn't realise what they were witnessing, because it's a bygone. Well, I suppose there's way more tab racing now, so we see the good horses at the tab tracks. But back then, John, it would have been a bit of a commonplace to have those sort of horses racing at the country venues.
Oh, it was. Like the crowd we used to get back then, the cars were down to the highway, what Fred was saying. Like, they were out on the highway. I remember Tony Turnbull one day saying, get down there and get all those people in to see good horses go around. And that was the type of people like we had the likes of Toby Weeks and Buddy King and Ian Mutton, all those champion drivers all here at one meeting, and the crowd was just big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it should be fantastic. You've shown me around the facilities. You guys have done you got a great facility there too, don't you? I remember when I came and met with the club mid last year, you did a bit of a show and tell. I'm very proud of the facilities you got there. We've got this amazing sort of kitchen, this wonderful sort of corporate area, and then we've got this sort of this very country track with the beautiful sort of panoramic landscape, and it kind of almost looks like you're in New Zealand or something like that, with the hills and the sheep getting around it. It's just a really picturesque place.
It looks like that on Sky Racing.
Sorry?
It looks so picturesque when you watch it. I haven't had a chance to get out to Blaney, but when you're watching it at home on the television, I think it would have to be one of the most picturesque tracks that we have here in New South Wales.
Yeah, so I was down in Penrith for the Carnival Cups there at Easter time. I had mates in Penrith that come up here, and people would just tell me how well it looked on TV, and I'm just so proud of a tall, small town like we have that we've got those facilities.
What do you reckon's we'll wrap this up in a sec, John, but what do you reckon's the highlight of the 50 years? Have you got something that's front of mind?
Oh, probably having the good horses here all the time, all those years when, like the Turnbulls and the Weekses and all the good horses that used to come around Blaney, like Steve Turnbull, he drove at our first meeting back in 50 years ago, and he'll have horses in this Sunday, and Steve, it's just a pleasure to have with the Always family, and all the owners of his horses are great supporters of the Blaney Club. And I want to thank Harness Racing New South Wales and John Dumacy and the board and Kenny Brown, because our judges box out here was opened by Kenny Brown in '75 when he was the Minister for Racing.
Wow. Yeah, gee, there's a lot of synergies kicking in. And hey, how good's that? Steve Turnbull raced there on the opening day, and he's going to be back
on the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
Longevity.
Yeah, fantastic.
He runs second on Radiant Group to Regal Springs. So the photo in the office, and Steve has a look every time he comes in. So it's great to have people like that in the sport.
Geez, John, if we have harness racing trivia night, I want you on my team. Yeah. dropping fact bombs like that.
Yeah, the stats man.
Well, that's like this. My brother's been president of the club for about 44 years.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great effort.
And clubs rely on that so heavily, those clubs, the volunteer nature and the service that are put in by the committee. You don't survive 50 years, do you, John, without that?
No, well, we've only got a small committee of 6 fellas, but on the race days we get help of other people come and help us, and which is great. And the sport of the Blaney town and the community, and Rod Smith, he's sponsoring the race this Sunday. He offered the prize money with us, and so it's great. Rod, he's looked after us over all the years, and thanks to him that we got this meeting on.
Fantastic. All right, John, well, I can't wait to see it all play out. Best of luck with it, and hope it goes well for the club.
Thanks, everyone.
Good on you.
Cheers, John.
Thank you.
Well, guys, we've kind of gone through the week that was in racing, but what I didn't get to, and we'll pour some time into it now. Fred, great night of the APG finals here on Saturday night.
How good. And it rained most of the night. The track, obviously, the disappointing factor was the rain put pay to any real chance of those time bonuses for the 2-year-old races going off. Very safe, but just became a bit slushy and they couldn't run the time. So we didn't see the fast times. I've got no doubt what we saw of those horses that won those races on a dry, fast, typical Menangle surface, they would have been paying out a bit more money, I think, APG.
I definitely think you're right there, Fred. And you had to earn your check that night as well. There are quite a few close finishes.
Yeah, we had 3 noses and a half a head in the first race. I was pretty confident in 3 of them. There was one I sat on the fence, which was Speak the Truth, winning race number 2, beating 3 Rivers by a short half head by a nose. Fortunately, the $400,000 race, I must admit, that was a very close nose. And I said it in the coverage on Saturday, you can get a nose result, but sometimes a nose result can be a bigger looking nose than another nose result because margins are basically based on time. But I don't have the advantage of the line and moving the horses into shot. It's just as it's happening, spitting it out, and you hope to God you get it right.
Or time stopping.
You know, you are. You're trying to line it up, and then you got to use your imagination if they're wide apart. How much do I tack on? You know, it's all yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Well, I'll tell you, he had a big night. We've already mentioned him in the podcast, so he might have struggled a little bit that day at Yarra, but geez, he had a big night. Jack Callaghan on Saturday night, didn't he? He had 4 winners on the night. 3 of them were in some of the features. So he had Madrid and then he won both 3-year-old finals with Peaceful and Sweetheart Bart. He had Tintin Joe earlier in the night as well. So, yeah, fantastic night for Jack. I tell you what, he did so well from a fantasy harness racing perspective. He pretty much went from 0 to be the leading point scorer for the whole round based on how well he did on Saturday night. I was thrilled for him.
Yeah, I guess it's nothing unusual. We talked about it earlier. It was good to see Belinda McCarthy picked up a few of those 3-year-old races. Of course, Cam did a great job with Peaceful when he had her. He's moved back over to WA and now with the McCarthys. And Belinda also Quinella that 3-year-old boys race with Sweetheart Bart and Don Hugo. So it was a good night at the office. Yep. I did read today, and it only dawned on me this morning, a very rare day or a very rare night at Menangle where Luke McCarthy himself didn't drive a winner, but fortunately the stable had a couple of wins and Jack did great for them.
Doesn't happen very often, does it?
It doesn't happen.
Will, I know the banner flies around thick and fast, but you're all good mates. How happy are you for a mate to have a real fat night like he had on Saturday night in Jack?
Yeah, really happy for him. He does a great job, and he's a terrific driver. He reads the race as well, and he knows what he's doing. And yeah, as Fred just said, Luke didn't get a winner, but it probably just goes to show how good of a driver Jack is because he trusts him in these big races with Belinda's and the big team, how they've put him on horses like Peaceful and Sweetheart Bard and Dashing, and Jack just always delivers for him. And why wouldn't you put him on his stats sort of speak for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you what, I got the photos back yesterday, and I know that the Menangle team was getting photos too. Just we got the ones that Brett Atkins took for us that came in yesterday, and there's Jack standing there, and the Prince is covered in mud. It was trying conditions out there, Freddie. But great photos. He's obviously very happy, but every one of them, all those drivers are just covered in mud for this amazing moment in their life.
I saw Cam. I had the 1050s parked on Cam when he came back to Scale with Wood and Buddy. And honestly, his own mother probably wouldn't have recognised him. It was just, and I said to him on radio on Sunday morning, I said, you were absolutely caked. And he said, well, fortunately, it absolutely teamed down in the last race, and it was torrential rain just before the last. Washed it all off. He said he didn't have to spend time in the showers.
Yep. People pay a lot of money for that sort of treatment, don't they, Jess?
Yeah, they do. It can be quite expensive at the start.
That's what I'm doing wrong.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Cam, he did win with My Ultimate Ronnie. Jack was actually second in that one too, and geez, looked like it was a chance on a couple of occasions with Lightning Dan. So big night for Jack and Cameron. Cameron won with Ward and Buddy, as you said. Got up at $12 to beat Storm Rider, who looked the moral in the field when you crunch the form.
Big
but
run
as we know, it was a Quinella for Emma Stewart, though, in the 2-year-old Colts and Gelding. So well done to that team. Amanda Turnbull, big night. Second in the 2-year-old filly. Sorry, I've got this wrong. She won. I've got this written down on my notes wrong. She won with I Believe after being second in the Gold Tiara. So I Believe is certainly on a very upward trajectory, Jess.
Yeah, another great win and a great drive by Amanda. She proves time and time again just why she's one of the best here in New South Wales, and well done to her and Nathan.
Yep, absolutely. Double for the night with Shannon Price for Adam Sanderson. So good night for that team. Shane Graham came to town, won the 2-year-old Trotters final with Agent Black. Erica, a huge one. We nearly had a local winner there, $51 for Robbie and Kerry Ann.
Yeah, ran a good race. Went really good. I think the winner of that race is a pretty handy horse. And just very quickly back to Adam Sanderson, Speak the Truth, one of his winning double, the first of his double. Very good horse. That was only second up after 12 months off. And he's got to be sort of a horse that starts to creep into calculations for the Eureka.
Absolutely. Bull Crash Opera. You know what? I was driving along Victoria Road, I think it is, and the Roselle pub. They have the bands coming. Boom Crash Opera.
They're back.
I thought Boom Crash Opera.
Or was it an old poster that no one bothered
no.
taking down from 1993?
Next month.
Oh,
and
here
I
you go.
actually
We should go. We should buy Jess a ticket.
Well,
Okay,
I actually
yeah.
looked it up,
If you two
and
go.
tickets sold out.
Oh, see, that's how popular they
Yeah.
are, Jess. We tried.
Yeah, and I thought I
popular.
thought of you, Jess, as I drove past and saw it. And,
She doesn't know who Boom Crash Opera
why?
is, but she
Good,
goes and
no.
watches Rod Stewart.
Yeah, but Wano had no idea last week either.
Yeah, true.
When we had him on the week before.
We're just old, Paul.
So, that said, what's the best thing you saw this week, Jess?
Yeah, well, we kind of just touched on it, but it was the interstate flavour that was here at Menangle on Saturday night. We had horses from WA, Victoria and Queensland, and it was great to see. It was a fantastic night of racing.
Yeah, Freddie?
Oh, look, it's been well covered. The effort of coming together for the community in the West at Eugowra last Tuesday. It wasn't just harness racing looking after harness racing people. It was harness racing looking after community. And as Will said, just if it made a difference and raised a bit of money, I think it probably did more than that. It would have helped raise spirits.
Yep.
Just seeing the city slickers come to town and just try to do stuff for them, because it's so easy. When these events, these tragedies happen, we're all there, gung ho, let's get in there, but sometimes that effort falls away a little bit. We stuck solid, and here it was, several months later. Again, going back in to try and raise money and awareness and help the community. I thought, well done, Take About Harness Racing and all those involved. Mick Dummersney, Harness Racing New South Wales, I know you had a lot to do with that, and the participants themselves. And I think that's the best thing I've seen nearly all year.
Yeah, I think people will be talking about that event for a long, long time. Will, short notice, but anything pop out, mate?
Yeah, well, that was an obvious one with
Yep.
Eugowra, with Job U and Mick Dummersey and Amanda Rendo, and everyone did. I thought it was a great day and something I'll remember for a while. And just quickly, Saturday night was a great night for Kim and Jack, so I thought that was, they did really well, so I was happy for them as well.
That'll get him back in the good books.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it. No more sledging.
Will, mate, it's great to have you on the show. We've talked about it a couple of times about you winning that Club Menangle medal a few months ago. That's a real vote of confidence from other people saying this guy's had a great year and we're going to reward him for it. Sometimes it's all it takes is that vote of confidence and that sense of worth to really go next level. Has that kind of triggered the next wave of success for you? Like, have you felt like there's a bit more buoyancy in the way you go about things, a bit more of a pep in your step?
Oh, I don't think so. I don't think. Obviously, it was a nice achievement, and I was very grateful to get the award, and definitely a good thing to have behind me. But I sort of just take every day as it comes. It's I feel like I had a really good back end of the year. Well, last year especially, I went to Queensland for 3 months, and I thought that's helped my driving a lot. Like going to sort of really put me out of my comfort zone, being up there and driving against Queensland's best drivers, and also driving for different trainers up there and different style racing. And I thought that was a thing that helped me a lot. And also in December when the Inter-Dominion was on in Melbourne, a few of the guys were away, and I had quite a good month in December, which I thought helped.
Yeah, we said that, didn't we? There's good opportunities when the big fish
There was
are away.
a few of them that
Yeah,
were
there's a
going
few
to
more
excel.
bites.
Yeah,
Yep,
absolutely. People like Chris Geary at the same time, we thought he'd have a good time of it too, and he did. So
Yeah. No, your success rate's been outstanding for him. We've certainly reflected on it on this show. What's next, mate? What have you? I know you ticked off that Group 1 win a couple of years ago in the regional championships down there in Wagga. What have you zeroed in on? Because we're accumulating winners in volume now with you, but what's the goal? Because you're seeing your mates, your best mates, Jack and Cameron, and they're ticking off those Group 1 boxes. Surely that's what you've got your sights on.
Yeah, I'd like to prove the first one wasn't a fluke. Obviously, it'd be good to get a second one. That's what everyone wants to do. It's all I've ever wanted to do is drive horses and drive in big races. And obviously that would be great. But yeah, I try not to set too many goals. Like I just try to take each day as it comes, and try and keep improving. I think it's the main goal. You can always improve, and you know, we're lucky in New South Wales, as you touched on, with all the talent here, and there's a lot of good drivers that you get to race against, and try to keep improving, sort of learn a bit off them, and like I'd love to get 100 winners in a season. I haven't done that before, and you know, people keep saying to me I'm right on track, but you know, things can change pretty quickly. So I'm
What's it? You've got
54, and we're sort of a third of the way through the season. We're just as of today, so we're a third of the way through the season effectively. Your best season was 83 last year, so you're only 29 off emulating last year, or 30 wins to be precise, off emulating last year, and then from there it's just another 17. So I've got you. We've got a market. Tab got a market on Will, because I'm going to get on. Will, in terms of your growing up, and obviously you've been surrounded by harness racing, right? Tell me about a once in a lifetime horse that your family had. You're only a young fella, and we've had a similar discussion with Hannah about this horse. But what are your memories of having a horse that Paul, you might argue is probably a little underrated when discussions abound about the best horses of that era? When you go straight away, your mind goes to Black's a Fake and a few of those other ones. But what are your memories of having Divisive and what it meant for mum and dad at the time?
Yeah, I get goosebumps every time his name comes up. It's just an amazing horse. He was a perfect racehorse, and I would have loved to have been just a bit older, and obviously I'd love him around now and might to get about to have a spin on him. But he was just Dad. I always say to people, Dad always says he'll never buy a lottery ticket because he's already won it. We've getting him, and he was what he was able to achieve in his short career was just horses just don't do. He was so dominant at 2 and 3, and won all the major races at 2 and 3, and then at 4 EI hit when he was favourite in the Chariots of Fire, so he wasn't able to go in that, and then won a few country cups and able to win the Miracle Mile at 5, and then not long after that he got injured, and that was just. It's a shame that he didn't get to go on and keep competing for another 2 or 3 years because it wouldn't.
Well, he would have been going around here.
Yeah.
After the injury, that's pretty much when Menangle racing. And I just got this feeling he would have been a real good horse around here.
Well, he's just a good horse wherever he went.
True, yeah. We just underestimate him a bit, Paul, I think.
He probably paid for your bedroom, mate.
Yeah, he did a lot.
You're working now with Ricky Ouch and across the road there at Menangle Park. How do you enjoy that experience? There's such a good team in the stable at the moment.
Yeah, it's good. It's great to work with good horses, and there's a lot of them there, and good people too, which makes, they're quite long days and a lot of hours, but when you're doing it with, good people like Ricky Hunt does an awesome job. So, it's good, and it's also another thing that's been good for my career.
Mate, you got Jess's besties, your twin sister. I thought she might have come in with a bit more dirt on you than what she's just served up for us.
No, never on Will. Will's my friend too.
We had your sister. We had Hannah. Well, we had Hannah in here. Yeah. Now, one of the races we talked about was a day you were on a favourite and you were absolutely flying. And Hannah came up and got you on the outside, and she's
was that Paint Me a Reason?
I think it was.
Paint Me a Reason?
She's clinging to that of how good it was to get a scalp like you. Do you remember that race?
Do I remember it?
I was going to say he doesn't remember it. Hannah reminds him every day.
Tell us about it, mate. Come on.
Oh, it was a mix.
She give you some as she went past?
No, I like to think I'm a pretty good sport, and it was a pretty good win for Hannah, and I was actually on one of my favourite horses, Sugar, for my honey, and she was short in the market, and I just thought she was a great chance, and it was a nice race for her to win. And she went terrific. They held her out for a while and then did a lot of work, and then the pressure kept coming, and then she was entitled to get tired early than she did, and then Hannah come down the outside and go on the line. So I was filthy I got beat because not so much Hannah, but I was just for the horse's sake. She went so good and she deserved the win. But then I was also happy for Hannah, and I was first one to say well done to her.
So it wasn't look up and go, I got beaten. Anyone but her.
Nah,
I'm glad it was her.
yeah, well, I was happy for Anna, but at the same time, I was disappointed for myself. But that's just racing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's high ups and downs, and yeah, it was a good result for Anna for sure.
Hey, you guys are a beautiful family. You're tight, aren't you? Like you guys are. You know, you got each other's back. You're rock solid with each other, and and obviously harness racing royalty is that this family and the Turnbulls and that if you did that family tree of AD and how it pans down, what a
great legacy,
what a brilliant legacy that's been created. But yeah, you guys are rock solid with each other, aren't you? Like it must be fun to get together and and have a laugh and and just talk. I assume you guys probably talk about a lot other than harness racing because it is all consuming for you guys.
Yeah, I reckon we'd get along better if we did an office job. We probably wake up a bit when we race against each other all the time, especially with the Turnbulls as well. We compete against each other all the time. But yeah, we are, and Mum and Dad have been so good to us, and they're the reason why we've been lucky to be successful at the game because they're such great trainers, and obviously do such.
We should get a race going, Freddie, and we'll put Will and Hannah and Ellen, and then we get Amanda and Nathan
and
Abby,
soon Jet
have to
and
get
throwing
Abby as well.
Jason, Emma.
We should have a race.
Jason, Emma.
The AD Cup or something like that.
Hey, if you're listening up there, Bathurst, Danny, this could be a thing.
Cool.
But just on your mum and dad, I mean, they I've got no doubt, so proud of you three. I mean, you've just been good, hardworking young kids who have come through. You mentioned mini trots, and obviously that was an important phase in you starting off to where you are now. But your mum and dad, you must be so proud. And as you said, you're very thankful for the guidance they've given you over your lifetime, and particularly through your harness career.
Yeah, it's they've obviously done so much for me. And they're about played a huge part in my driving as well because they're both great drivers, which I'm incredibly lucky that I've had mum and dad help me out heaps as a driver, and I'm got no doubt I wouldn't be anywhere near as like I've had without them because where things they go wrong, they've helped me put them out.
They sit you down and say this is where you could have done things differently. A bit of advice, yeah.
Early on, like obviously when I still lived at home and did my trials and first started driving, you tend to make a lot of mistakes, and would always get out the replay and things I could do being better, and that's so important because and oftentimes you can be on good horses and win races and not actually drive the horse won the race sometimes, and you think that geez, how good am I just won on this horse, but if you can still drive a better race even though you have won it. So things like that where mum and dad have always helped, and now every meeting I have dad rings on the way home, and we talk about the races.
Debrief. I like it.
Awesome.
You said your granddad was a bit of a he was a highlighter pen man, wasn't he?
Yeah, granddad was great too. Your grandfather, he was he used to highlight get the paper every morning and highlight each grandchildren who had racing that night and go through and watch. And although for the last couple of years his balance sort of went a little bit, couldn't get around as good as he used to, but he was sharp as ever in his mind, and if you drove a good race, he'd pick up on it, but if you drove a bad race, he would too, and Mum always rang him on the way home, and he was
nice. Hey guys, I should mention, I want to tribute Will a little bit. I don't know if there's part of the reason why I'm standing here, but so when I had to do my job interview to get this job that I got with Harness Racing New South Wales, I thought, what do I want to do? I want to go in with a story. I'll write a story. I have my own website. I'll write a story, and I'd watched Bathurst the night before, and Will drove a horse called Finery at Bathurst the night before that won. So I thought, that looked like a horse, a little bit of promise. So I got on Facebook. I stalked Will. I found him. Within 5 minutes, he said, no worries, here's my phone number. Rang Will. We had a chat. I wrote a story up that afternoon. I had my job interview and said, here's a story I've written, put it in front of the people. They were impressed, and I got the job. So thanks, mate.
Hope there's a sling coming your way.
Thanks, mate. The other thing, though, Will, and just to touch on this, we do have the regional championships coming up, and obviously that's a Bathurst, Wagga, Newcastle, and Menangle. Now, in the first year, you won the Group 1 at the River Arena Championships with Father Bob down there. It was your first Group 1. a poignant moment, obviously, for so many reasons. Your grandfather passed away just after that. My understanding is it was one of the last things the news that he got told. His grandson's just won his first Group 1. What a beautiful moment for the whole family, mate.
Yeah, it was. It was a tough week because I had a busy week driving, and I was in the Wagga Championship on the Sunday and the Newcastle on the Friday and Menangle here on the Saturday. So Mum and Dad and the girls sort of got time to go down and see him, but I just had too much on here and never got to. And yeah, it was a tough week, and obviously knew that it probably wasn't going to end well. And then going into the Sunday, actually it was Craig and Abby travelled from Shepparton, and they won the Wagga Cup, and then we Cornellaed the Wagga Oats, and then I won the Group 1, and then grandfather passed away an hour later. So it was like it was written. It was It was like it was
incredible.
it was.
Incredible.
It was a bit
Gives you
incredible.
goosebumps. That does.
Yeah. Oh, I just love the idea that he's gone to heaven knowing that you've just won a Group 1, mate. Like, given, as you said, he was the highlighter pen man. He critiqued up and down depending on how you went. He highlighted. He was a student of what you guys did. He loved you so much, and poured his time over the years into investing into how well you guys went. To know that news was some of the last news he received. Just
incredible.
Yeah, just absolutely brilliant. Mate, great to have you on the show, Will. Hey, fancy harness races going well. You're going well too, Will. You've been a bit of a staple in my team. I know Freddie's team. You've stuck solid, Jess? Or have,
I don't think Will has been in my team.
This is awkward.
This is very awkward.
Wow.
You've had a good year, mate. We definitely underpriced you.
No, you didn't.
700.
No, you didn't.
What is he? 700.
745. He's good at 745.
So
Leave him there.
I had a good week. 10th overall for the round. Moved up to 19th. So, yeah, pretty happy with that. Obviously, all those big guns, particularly Jack and Cam, really went nuts. So that was good. Yeah. How'd you go?
No, not good. I was about 1,300 and something for the week, and that's probably because I don't have Will in my team.
Had a good week. Triple points on that win at Yagara in the Invitational Series. So it was good. Freddie, you're making moves.
Yeah, I went from 101 to 83.
It's good.
But and I've really loaded the Metro team this week again because I think the great benefit is they tend to go everywhere. Newcastle, some go to Bathurst as well, and I think when you consider essentially, if you count Newcastle, Penrith, and the two Menangles, you're getting 4 out of the 6 race meetings that are essentially
in the fixture.
In the fixture for these drivers to travel. I know you go to some of these country meetings, the Newcastles and the Bathursts and the like. Robbie does it. Josh, I know you're a big fan of Josh this week. I've left him out this week, but yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Ball for choice, yeah. There's some really good options.
And what a great concept it was, Paul. And as I understand, is there congratulations in the offing? I know Modesty has precluded you.
Yes,
Modesty has precluded.
You're the first person apart from me to touch a button, and what am I?
I know. Well, I didn't want to. I haven't been game to reach over, but congratulations, Paul.
Yes,
so I know your Modesty precluded you from mentioning you.
Yeah,
you
so
too
fancy harness racing won. Similar. I think we got the same award or something, didn't we? Yeah. So obviously recognised for the innovation side of it by Harness Racing Australia. So
well done.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, it was cool. It's an evolving product. We're certainly committed to it at Harness Racing New South Wales to, making it bigger and better and making sure Will's not as cheap next year. So
I'll leave him where he is. He's going all right.
Just a quick comment on it though, mate. Like from the driver's perspective, do you guys like it, or if people talk about it, or?
Yeah, it's funny. It's one of them things at Miracle Mile Night. I was obviously in the stables and I had kids coming up to me and asking for photos with me, and I thought. It was just, obviously never had that before, and I thought, what's going on here? But obviously, it's they said that was, they're in their team. And
How good is that?
Yeah, and I thought I thought to myself, geez, this game's working well. I had all these kids come up to me all night, obviously in the mini trots, and kids that come down to watch the night Miracle Mile Night, and I probably had them come up and ask for photos and sign their race book and that, and I just thought. geez, this is felt
Fantastic.
strange, but
awesome.
I thought, geez, that game must be working. And we always talk about it. I know the other day at Penrith, me and Robbie are in a real close finish for third, and it went my way, and I said to him, I got 3 extra points.
That's good. I think Cam's playing it. I think in the leaderboard there on Saturday night, I thought I saw Cam up pretty high with his team.
Okay.
Going pretty well for the week. So, yeah, that's great. Thanks for telling us that story, Will, because I love that. And that's all part of what we're hoping to achieve with it is, elevate the profile of you guys, but create heroes. We want people that they can look up to, and if they're looking up to guys like you, Will, and Cam and Jack and that, then they're certainly looking up to the right people. I would have thought so. Big week ahead, guys. 7 races this afternoon. Well, you got a few going round. Heavenly Bell looks like your best mate.
Yeah, it looks that way on paper. A little tricky draw, but really good run last start. And I've got pretty bad draws all day. So
you're going to need a bit of luck on a few of those that I saw. Yeah. Jess, this afternoon, 7 races. We go to Wagga tonight. We've got Bathurst Wednesday. We've got Tamworth and Penrith on Thursday. You'll be at Penrith on Thursday, Will?
Yep, I'll be
there.
Right,
the people who've taken the 745k there, Freddie will be happy with that. Points at Penrith.
We've got to work harder to get him more drives. I think you've only got 3 on Thursday, haven't you?
Yeah, I've normally got really busy.
I was going to say, you normally got near to a full book.
Yeah. But,
you'll be putting the feet up by after race 3, I think.
What time do trades close? I might have to get him into my team.
You're just
too late. You've missed
I
it.
missed.
If you're listening on the podcast platform, it is just after midday when we're recording this on the live stream. Sorry, you just missed it as well. Maybe that's why. Maybe that's where people are gone. They've gone to do their trades quickly. So Wagga, Dubbo, and Newcastle on Friday. Blaney on Sunday, as we mentioned. Newcastle and Canberra are on Monday. So that's a lot of racing. Of course, the TAB Regional Championships. We've got heats at Bathurst tomorrow, Wagga and Newcastle on Friday, Menangle next Tuesday. So that's really starting to generate some momentum now, Jess.
It's always such an exciting time when the TAB Regional Championships roll around. We see so many great stories come out of those heats and finals. Will is a prime example of one, and can't wait to see what this year's series holds.
Yep, absolutely. And then Menangle on Saturday night, Freddie, we've got 2 Group 1s for the Trotters.
Yeah, it'd be a great night of racing, 10 race card, some consolations as well. For the APG, so lots happening on Saturday, and the racing, if it's anywhere near where it was at last Saturday night, we're in for a big night.
Hey, you work with Ricky. When it comes to the Trotters, he's always very prominent. What can you tell us about looking ahead to those 2 Group 1s this Saturday night?
Yeah, well, one got off the plane last night, a New Zealand mare. Don't know too much about her, so it's sort of hard to give her too big of a push. And she's in with Clean Lighter and On Ready Jet, so they're great mares. So I think she might be one to follow though for the stable. She's going to be staying for a bit. And Tougher's a really nice filly who is definitely one to follow. But geez, that Oaks looks to have a lot of depth.
Which one's the one off the plane in New Zealand?
It's in Barry Burton and Scott Phelan's name. It's Escape the Pace. It's called. Yeah,
yep.
so
right.
she'll be one to keep an eye on for sure. And Tougher's a really nice filly in the Oaks. But as I said, the race has got a lot of depth in it. We've Rockin' with Attitude and a lot of nice fillies from Melbourne. So she might find it hard to win this week, but I think in future she's in a really nice field.
You're excited to see Queen Elida go round, aren't you, Jess?
Yeah, I am. She won the La Cucaracha last year here, and it's always great to see those interstate trotters come up for these feature events. And I know not this Saturday, the week after, we also have the New South Wales Trotters Derby, so another feature event for the Square Gators.
Yeah, all right, Freddie, you're going to have to be... If you can get any more on top of your game as you were last Saturday in the conditions and calling things that had a post-it note in between margins, I don't know how, but I reckon if anyone can do it, Jess, it's this man. He can
definitely
bigger and better again this Saturday night.
I like it when they spread out a bit more. I'm getting too grey for this sort of stuff.
No, it should be a great week of racing. All right, well, Will's already given us a steer on one to keep an eye out for.
Just on that, it'll probably come out of Barrier 5, Escape the Pace, because there's 2 emergencies drawn inside.
Even better.
So potentially Barrier 5 for Escape the Pace.
All right. Is there anything else you think we should be having a look at? Will, we normally try and get a bit of a black booker out of our guests.
This week I've got a 2-year-old in the APG Consolation, Memphis Fury. He's a horse I quite like, and he's drawn pretty well in 2, so he looks my probably best chance of the week. So he'd be one I'll probably.
Great minds, Jess.
I can tell you now that was my black belt of the week as well, Will. So glad you asked Will first.
I just saw your notes.
As soon as he said, as soon as he said APG,
I
knew
remember
where he
you
was
two
going.
before the show saying mine starts with M, and I thought the minute he said Memphis, I thought
That's one of theirs. You
Yeah.
done it again.
Memphis
There you
Fury.
go.
You liked,
Memphis Fury,
like what
I
you saw?
thought it was really impressive in its 2 wins and got caught outside the leader last start in the APG heat, and I think here it could definitely threaten. So
What
no
about you,
pressure,
Freddie?
Will.
Hopefully you're right, Jess.
Yeah, there you go. For me, I was really impressed with a trotter last week called Maximus Meridius. For the fans of the Gladiator, made a mistake just after the start, did a lot of work to catch up, was sort of in the mix and then galloped again and lost ground, was only beaten 10 metres running third. I spoke to Dean McDowell. He said the horse has basically never put a foot wrong and just decided on race day when it all counted to make a few mistakes. When he learns to trot and trot all the way, he's going to be a real good horse. So I don't know, you probably won't get a price about him next time he faces the starter, but I think he'll be a winner, Maximus. Meridius.
On
Can you
my
do that
command, unleash hell.
Yes, do that in your best Russell Crowe voice, please.
Yes, no. Hey, just on that, what's that? Freddie just mentioned a horse doesn't behave after having zero form in doing that. What's that like? That must be shattering. You're ready to go. You've got your owners all standing there. They're excited. Everyone, you're in the chair and the horse gallops. Not much you can do about it. What's that sinking feeling, I'd imagine?
Yeah, it's not a good one. It's the game's, highs and lows, and that's one of the lows. It's when you're at the back and not in the pack and following around behind them. It's not fun, and yeah, it's probably one of the hardest things actually when you come back in off the track, and then the trainers and the owners are there, and it's not always your fault. Sometimes it can be as well, which makes it even harder. So. And it's just part of that. It's part of the the gig. It can happen in any industry. Things go wrong. So
I've seen that with Nathan Turnbull, haven't we? Your cousin,
exactly. Yeah.
Twice would better be the best in big races.
It does hurt. That's for sure.
What does a drive when they're tailed off and this the rest of them are 100 metres in front of you and you're just going around on your Pat Malone? What are you thinking about? Or what goes through your mind? You're thinking about what you're going to have for dinner that night, or what goes through your mind when you're tailed off and you're no hope?
Well, I remember one day when I was starting off, it happened on one of Dad's, and the horse annoyed me. So I chased the field and had was quite cranky at the horse and really made the horse work. And I copped the fair old spray because Dad said, you got to think about next week,
Save the horse for the next run.
So normally now, if that happens, you sort of just work. Before I do anyway, just sort of work the horse, and then I've obviously try and change it. Think of maybe gear you can change on it, or things that you can put to the trainer that you can change. So hopefully you get a better result next time.
All right, all right. Well, a few good ones to keep an eye out there, guys. Hey Jess, pacing for pink launch today. You people on the live stream would see you're adorned in the pink, the beautiful. Is it pink?
Cerise,
magenta.
I think it's cerise. The
Cerise,
the John Hawkes,
I was going to
or
say
the Ingham
yes,
cerise.
the Inghams,
Octagonal. Looks like she's just ridden octagonal in track work.
Yes.
Or Lonrose.
But great initiative. Launches today.
Yeah, it does, that's for sure. I think it launched yesterday. We've seen the 1st of May. We've seen the drivers out there in pink pants. And I know Ellie Chappell saluted at Bankstown, but it'll be a really big month. Hopefully we can get plenty of pink winners here at Menangle. I know Will has got a pair of pink pants that he'll be wearing. So we'll be donating here for every single winner that a driver drives in the pink pants, every female training win. And also if number 8 Saddlecloth happens to salute as well, because it is pink. And then on Tuesday, the 30th of May, we'll hold our high tea, and tickets are filling up very fast. So I encourage everyone to purchase their tickets from the Club Menangle website.
I didn't go to that last year. Some of my colleagues did. Came back, great feedback. Said it was a fantastic afternoon out. So, take Jess's advice there. Get around it if you can. You're supporting a really good cause, and you'll have a great day at the track. So, should be fantastic. Freddie, good calling this afternoon.
Thank you.
It's a little bit late to the start, 1:57 or something like
About
that.
that,
something like that. So you've come in early. You will go and have a kip in David Wanson's lounge.
I'll have a Lou Reed.
Yes,
because I'm Lee Marvin.
Take a walk on the wild side.
Lou. Lou. Yes, Lou Reed. The song. No, I was doing rhyming slang. I'm going to go and have a feed.
Right, that's a good one.
Because I'm starving. Lee Marvin. Jess is lost. She doesn't get our whole rhyming slang. We'll teach her.
We'll drive well this afternoon. Good luck for the rest of the week
mate.
ahead,
Good luck,
mate.
Will.
And thank you so much for giving up your time to come in here. I know, and thanks to Ricky as well. I know that when we tried to get Ricky on the show, he was like, mate, it's a tough time slot trying to get horses ready on a Tuesday. He's allowed you to Bundy off for an hour or so to come over here and
which is very unlike him too.
Gibber with us.
Oh, he'll make you pay for it tonight.
Yeah.
You're doing feed up tonight.
Yeah, that's right.
So,
thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Good on you, mate.
Appreciate it, mate. To everyone out there listening, thanks for your time. I hope you've enjoyed the show. We love being able to get together and do this live show. If you are listening on the podcast platforms, wherever that is, please feel free to give us a like, share, follow. Tell everyone about it. We love bringing you the Sprint Lane each week, and we can't wait to do it again. We will catch you next week on the Sprint Lane. Until then, bye-bye.